watching Success is a Journey, and I'm here with Laura Robertson at Beautiful Potential, and also author of $40 and a Dream. First of all, I want to thank you for having me here to do this interview. I was really excited about it. I follow you on social media, and I see all the things that you do. So let's get right into this interview. Kind of give the people some background on you, like where you from and things like that.
I am straight out the refugee camp. I was born in the refugee camps of Thailand.
Okay.
I was born homeless right after my father and my family had fled the war that ravaged our homeland in Laos. Mm-hmm. And so I lived in the refugee camp for about 2 years because we had to get sponsored out of there.
Wow.
We were homeless and was living in poverty, and actually this is my actual picture from the refugee camp, my original picture. And so you'll see my head is bigger than my body because I was malnourished. We didn't have food. And so finally came to America in 1979 after we were sponsored by the First Presbyterian Church in Tennessee. So we had a layover here in Chicago in the winter storm of '79. And it was our first sight of snow. And coming from the refugee camp, which is like over 100 degrees, we only had sandals, shorts, and a tank top. But that was the only possession we had coming to America, which is why my book is called $40 and a Dream, because we were given $40 by the Refugee Committee to sponsor our trip and our new life in America. Wow. So, yeah. And then after we found out we had family in Elgin, we moved to Elgin, and Elgin became my home. This is like my hometown. So
you were born and raised here?
I was born in the refugee camps.
Yeah,
I was raised in Elgin. Yeah, I was raised in Elgin.
Okay, so how old were you when you came here? You were a baby?
I was 2 years old.
2 years old?
I was 2 years old when I came here. So we lived on Chapel Street, right across from the old Elgin High School. And I was that poor refugee child with hand-me-downs, running the streets barefooted and walking around back and forth to the Y to get, all the toys and stuff that they had at the Y. Yeah.
So how was it culturally moving here, like growing up?
You were so
young, did you notice like, oh, this is very different than where I came from?
So this is all I know. So America is all I really know because I came so young.
Right.
However, we were very secluded from the outside world because my parents also didn't really speak English. And so we didn't really go anywhere except for our small little community. So I had to go to bilingual school to learn English. And going into public school was also a culture shock because, all I knew was my mom, my dad, and then having to learn the language and stuff. I had like separation anxiety going into public school. But growing up, it was mainly like we didn't go to the movies. We didn't do any of the things that American kids would do. It was just go home, go to school, and after school on the weekends, it was just our Lao community. So whoever's birthday it is, whoever's wedding it is, whatever's going on in the Lao community, that's where I would be. Like all the Lao song. I think I was even part of a Lao band.
Really?
They kicked me off real quick because I couldn't sing. But yeah.
Okay, so when was the first time like you made friends outside of your community? Like, do you have memories of people that you met and maybe stayed in contact with?
Yeah, great question. So my first friends outside of my community was in elementary school. I went to Garfield Elementary. Okay. And I would say it was pretty rough back then because I was bullied for being Asian, and it was constant bullying at school. So I didn't really have a whole lot of friends. I was even, my fifth grade teacher at Garfield even told me, I didn't know racism back then, but she said that I didn't deserve this country or something to that extent. She was mad at me for something and started yelling at me. But yeah, every day I do remember like going to school, and every day it was Chinese, Japanese, chickadees, I was getting made fun of. I was getting spitballs thrown at me. I was getting chairs pulled underneath me, and I just hated recess. And Mrs. Jones was the the principal at that time that went to Garfield. Mrs. Jones was amazing. And I hated going recess because I didn't have friends. You know, back to your question, when did you have friends? I didn't really have friends, so I would just sit on the cement, on the stairs, and get teased and made fun of. Because I had hand-me-downs, I didn't have name brand stuff, and, you know, I was being made fun of my race. And I even remember one time when I was trying to play double dutch with the girls, like, hey, can I jump rope with you? And they're like, no, you're Chinese or something. Get away from us. But then I had two friends who I still am in touch with through Facebook, LaShonda and Shawanda.
Okay.
LaShonda Grace, she was one of my third grade friends. And
Okay.
LaShonda, if you know her, she does not play.
I do.
You do know her? Okay, I figured because, you know, Elgin's a small world, small space. And so LaShonda saw that they were bullying me, and she started going off on them. Like,
because when you're young, kids are so
yes,
cruel,
they're
right?
so
You don't
cruel.
realize till you're older.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I can relate to you.
Yeah.
Like, the schools I went to, I used to
They
be
did the
like
same thing.
the only black kid.
Really?
You know, there's maybe like in the whole school 6 or 7 of us, right?
Wow.
So I can understand and I can relate.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
She
to
stepped
that.
right in, and, you know, she went off on them, and, like, you could play with us.
Shout out
So,
to Shonda.
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, Shonda.
Yeah. So it was a rough start.
It was a
right?
rough start. So
Needless to say.
during elementary school, I was like too Asian for the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older, and I share all this as well in my book, as I got older, I became a little bit more Americanized because, you know, you're in school most of your day, right? And so you start to have friends, and you start to want to be like your friends, or to go out with your friends and do things with them, and you start to do some of the things that they do, and you become more Americanized. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
so it was just one of those things where I had a identity crisis, because at that time I didn't really discover my past and who I am at that time yet, because I was too young to understand. It wasn't until 10 years ago that the world opened the book, like my eyes to everything, and I share that as well, and how I discovered my past. But it didn't really make sense to me at that time like it does now. I have clarity now that I know what really went on in my past. But I was too Asian for the Americans, and then I became too American for the Asian community. And so once that happened, it was like a double-sided sword.
finding a place
It
to
was
fit
a
in,
double-sided
right?
sword. I didn't have a place to fit in, and it was like, now my people are like turning their backs on me. And, you know, back then racism is still real like it is now, but back then even more so, right? Because if you think about it, we were immigrants, we were refugees, we were uneducated. Like, my mom didn't even have like a kindergarten. You know, we came from the village, right? And so all we see and all we know is what the media portrays. And if you
Right.
think about 30, 40 years ago, or even 25 years ago, the media only portrays Black people as bad, right?
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
so then you have uneducated Asians seeing the news, and so now they're scared, right? And like, oh, why do you have Black friends? And why are you dating a Black guy? And, you know, and so it's not all, because ultimately, overall, Asians are really like amazing people, you know. And so, however, there's like the few that was bullying me, and, you know, I was dating a Black guy at high school, at Elgin High, and I was getting taunted and bullied like consistently. I would have to see like which way I'm going, because they would fight me, and there were girls like, you N lover and stuff, and I was getting phone calls at my house. So at that time, I was only around 15, and it was just really hard for me, because I had like a really bad identity crisis, and it was a lot of pressure, and I was scapegoat. I wasn't allowed to play with my cousins and friends that I had. So I ran away at 15. I ran away, took my stuff, and I wanted to move with my uncle in Kansas City. Once I got there, he said, no, you're a runaway. I can't take you in. And I was like, I'm not going back to that environment, back to Elgin. I just can't. and all the words were, like, your future's a lost cause, you're not going anywhere, you're a failure, you're not going to graduate high school, you're going to be a high school dropout. Like, all those things were put on me. That's why it's so significant that I'm back here now in my spot. Like, where are y'all now? Where are you guys at now? So I moved to Kansas City, and that was, of course, as I mentioned, everything I knew was all Asian, right? Lao this, everything culture-wise. Then I moved to Kansas City, and my uncle wouldn't take me in, so I ended up living with my boyfriend at the time. I begged his mom to be my legal guardian, and so she took me in. So here I am, this traditional, like, Lao girl, now living with Black family, right? And so she took me in. We lived in the middle of Kansas City.
Was it another culture shock?
Kind of, yeah. It was kind of another culture shock.
Okay.
Right. And so first we lived in a good neighborhood because we live in the suburbs because her husband was working for Comcast. But then, like, they split up. So we ended up having to move in with Grandma Bessie, right?
Okay.
So Mama Sonia split up with her husband in the suburbs. So we lived in the suburbs. Now we had to move in the inner city of Kansas City.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. So
Right.
I went to Kansas City inner city school, metal detectors. I was probably one of the only Asians in there. It was all Black school, and metal
This
detectors.
is during your middle school years?
High school.
High school? Okay.
Yeah, because I ran away at 15.
Okay.
So, but it was fine because you know what? It actually helped balance my grades.
Right.
Because here I wasn't doing well. I skipped school. My grades were dropping. But there, it was a bad school. So I just listened and learned. Like, the teacher were actually giving you the grade. I mean, the answers. But because I went to a school that was like, kids were rowdy. They didn't want to listen. So I'm writing down the answers. So it actually helped my grade.
Right.
But then, I missed my family, and I wanted to come back so my parents can see me walk across the stage. It's so important. Like, it's such a significant for the Lao family to see you walk across the stage because you could be the first and only one, right?
You want them to be proud of you.
Yeah, see that I did do it. Even with the 2.7, like, barely minimum to graduate, I still graduated.
Right, you still did it.
I still did it on time. 1995, I graduated from Elgin High School.
Elgin High School,
Yes.
you graduated. So you end up coming back.
Back.
Okay, then let them see
Yeah.
you graduate.
Yeah, to the people who said I was going to be a high school dropout. I walked across the stage on time.
How did that feel,
Yeah.
like, that moment? Did it, right?
It was good. I
real
felt
moment.
like, I
Because
felt
so
like,
many people
yeah,
said you couldn't do
said I
it.
couldn't do it. And mostly for my parents, they always talked about what they had to do to get to this country. And, and my father, like, he actually was a prisoner of war. And I tell the story in here, but he was captured by the communists, and my mom didn't know where he was. So just a little backstory in case some of the audience also didn't know, because as I'm going around speaking on different engagements, a lot of people don't know the difference even with refugees and immigrants.
Right.
And a refugee was forced out of the country. And just a little backstory on Laos. Our country was, it's a small country that borders the North and South Vietnam. And during the Vietnam War, it was a war between the South and North Vietnam, but because our landmark is like, the Ho Chi Minh Trail is like between the two, that's when the Americans put their outposts there. So for 9 years, there was a secret war in Laos.
Wow.
We were bombed for 9 entire years consistently, 24/7. And so when the end of the war happened, the CIA kept it a secret from the government. You watch Lao Redemption movie, you'll see a little bit of like a nonfiction part of it. But so as soon as the American troops pulled out, it made us vulnerable, and so the communists invaded our country. And during that time, my dad knew there was chaos going on, so he took my mom and my brothers, well, she was pregnant with one, and my older brother to Thailand, where her parents were, and he crossed back the Mekong River to go back to his teaching position. That's when he got captured as a spy by the communists. So the communists was taking and capturing everyone that believed in or was part of the Royal Lao government, and took them in a re-education camp to like brainwash them, rewire their brain to the new regime, and my dad was one of them. And the picture of the prison, it's still there. It's in here as well. But they bombed out inside of a mountain. His bed is still there.
Wow.
And they bombed out inside of a mountain and held him captive, tied up his wrist. He still has rope marks on his wrist, but for 2 years. So he basically went along with everything because all he thought about was my mom and the boys, right? His family. And I wasn't born yet at the time, but he gained their trust. And so once he gained their trust, then they put him in a less secured area. So he was like a security guard for the Capitol. And so he had a little flexibility to get around. At that moment was when he befriended a civilian. And the 2 civilians he befriended started plotting his escape with him because they didn't believe in the royal government either. And they wanted to leave the country as well. So they made a fake ID for him. And then it was like, they were like his ride or die. So it was like, okay, they went and made a fake ID. Now it's time to run for it. And they took a run for it, used the fake ID, got on the bus. And then as soon as they went near a river, they crossed the river and walked through the jungle for 5 days.
Wow.
And they walked through the jungle for 5 days so the communists wouldn't capture them. They ended up getting spotted but by another civilian. And when they were like trying to call the communists to come get here, there's prisoners escaping, my dad had to shoot them. So he killed the 3 people that was trying to call him out. It was like either be killed, kill, or be killed. And so he felt, very remorseful, but he begged them not to tell, and they still did. So they continued their journey in the jungle, hardly any food or to eat. They just kept going. So when they finally reached the escape boat, one of the guys' dad planted an escape boat by the river. Laos, there's a Mekong River that borders Laos and Thai. That's where people were escaping. And if you cross, sometimes you'll see dead bodies because people would die while they're trying to escape.
Yeah.
So it's a very dangerous escape. So once he got to the boat, he lifted the blanket up. He said he got on his knees because there was food and money in there, and he was starving. And he felt like, okay, I'm getting closer to freedom. Like, this is like, wow, So they got on the boat and they crossed over. The rest is in the book. I won't tell you or share with you the journey but in crossing paths during his escape, he actually crossed paths with my uncle who also got captured as well. And so they crossed paths, they exchanged hugs. My dad gave him a watch and said, in case I don't make it out alive, you at least have something significant of me. So that was the last time he saw his brother. He was shot to death. The other brother was buried alive in front of the villagers. They made the villagers come and watch him, and they made him dig his own grave, and they shot him from the back, and he just landed right in there while everyone watched. Because that's how the communists work. They made people fear them. And so they made them come watch this happening. So they reunited with my mom. He found her and reunited with her. That's when I was born. So I was the love child. And this is actually the refugee picture of me with the big head, skinny body. My mom actually has to hold me because we have to hold a sign up with our T number on it, which is like our adoption number identification. So this picture would get sent with our whole adoption paper with our sponsor with good teeth, what hobbies we have, who we look like, our pictures. And so, but it took us 2 years, and I believe it's because of overcrowded camp for one, but for two, it's because we were a family of 5. And so someone had to say, yes, I want to take responsibility financially, everything, to take care of this family, get them on their feet. And so we had to wait for probably a couple years before the church in Tennessee, Kingsport, First Presbyterian Church, they're like, it was just God. All this is so, I believe everything, our steps are already, ordained, and our steps are already ordered. And as I reunited with the people after 35 years, she told me, she recalled that night that they were going to decide what family to select. They had hundreds of profiles they could have picked, but they said, we want this family. Yeah. They had 5,000 raised.
I truly believe that it's
already laid out for you.
Right? Your story is already
written.
But, I think that's an amazing story, all that perseverance, right, that your parents went through, then they created you, and then for you to go through all the things that you went through, It's an amazing journey and story. So, you're at graduation. Your parents see you walk, and what's next for you?
Yeah.
What starts then?
Yeah, but I think I was still lost even after high school, right? We're not all grown up yet, right? We're still kind of like,
So there was no early entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah, there was
Installed
actually.
business?
Me and my girlfriend, one of my friends, Jamaica, we just had lunch together. We actually like reminisce back then, but it didn't happen till after I went through a bad marriage. I was married for 5 years in a marriage filled with adultery, and I had my 2 girls at that
was right out of
time.
high school?
Right out of high school, I was very insecure. I was very like still, all the things that people were putting in my head, I still didn't have that ability to see my self-worth, right? I was still struggling with that, so I would get into these relationships that just were not good for me.
Right.
And then I was in a 5-year marriage with my ex-husband who cheated through the whole marriage, but I have my beautiful girls from that. And after that, I think that's when I began the process of self-love and self-discovery. And, at that time when you speaking back to what you asked about entrepreneurship, after I divorced my husband, I was living in Michigan with him at the time, and I moved back to Elgin with my parents as a single mom on welfare. I moved back with my parents, and that's when I started to reestablish my confidence and my self-worth. And so I began my entrepreneurship journey actually at 25 years old.
Okay.
I had a modeling and marketing company.
Okay.
So I did promotions in Chicago. So my very last party was for the Chicago Bears. So we would do like, I was sponsors like Hypnotic would like, sponsor me. I would help hire the girls, to do that. But I would also do like promotions and, get paid for that. And so that I think started my entrepreneurship journey and also self-discovery. I was single for about 7 years, just started to do everything that would please me and establish. Yeah, and then until you're able to love yourself, until you're able to do that, you're just gonna keep getting into relationships that you're gonna repeat the cycle.
And if you can't love yourself, you're not able to project that on anybody else.
Exactly.
Right? So you
Exactly.
You gotta build yourself, right? And then I think that's a strong foundation for building any great business.
Exactly.
First, or any relationship first.
Confidence is
making
everything.
Sure that you are put together, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, everything.
That's true.
So have you always been in marketing? Has that been your thing? Have you always loved that?
I don't know. I guess I just got into it. I just love people. I love networking. I love to also help like coach, train, and help other people like succeed, And so when I got remarried to my husband now in 2008, we have 2 boys together. But I think after the second marriage, was when I kind of start reestablishing like my path, and that's when I got into like the corporate world.
Okay.
So that's when I got into the corporate world.
How did that feel? Did you kind of like feel like, okay, this is my space? Like, did you feel like, was that a moment like, okay, this is where I belong, right?
Not really.
No?
Corporate is not where I belong.
No?
I did it, but there were so many ups and downs with corporate politics, being an Asian American woman in corporate. I noticed that I would get paid less. I would get passed over in promotions. That's why my book is called Breaking Through the Bamboo Ceiling. Yeah. Because I had to go through so much as an Asian American woman, like finding that someone else, was paid more. Or just perfect example, I was transitioning. I was an executive director for a beauty school, Empire Beauty School. And I won't tell you what happened there because I don't want to talk on that, but in case someone's watching from Empire, but we won't go there. But I did end up working for another company right after that. After I took 9 months off, I had my son, and I went back to the work industry. I was going to go to enroll for nursing, but then when I saw all the things that nurses had to do, I said, never mind.
That's not for me.
It's not for me. And then they ended up asking, did I need a job? So I was like, oh, I worked in, secondary school that I ran the last school. They're like, oh, so they hired me for admissions there. 3 months later, the VP of admissions, he flew in. He's like, hey, your numbers are amazing. I want to promote you to director of, there's like a whole department of the admissions department. And I said, well, let me think about it because I had a bad experience. I don't know if I want to get in management right now. So then I told him, yes, I'll get into the director position, right? So everything was going okay. Like they were going to do the paperwork and everything. Then he came back to me and said, hey, I noticed that you don't have your bachelor's yet. And I said, yeah, but I have college experience. I have like all this school experience, running schools, admission sales experience. He's like, yeah, but HR, they've turned down other people. They could get in trouble, or something like that. They've turned down other people and they said, well, we won't give you the director position, but we'll give you the manager's position. And I said, okay, but it was like a $20,000 difference, right? But he was like, since you're going to be working closely to the director, we're going to have you help hire your counterpart. I said, okay, cool, that's fine, whatever, it is what it is. So he started sending me resumes, and I started it wasn't my decision, but just to talk to the candidates, right? They ended up hiring this lady, and when they hired her, I was curious. I looked back to see if she had a degree. It was a Caucasian woman, and I looked, and she also didn't have a degree. And remember, I was raised by a strong Black woman, right? My Asian mom would be like, no, don't cause trouble. Don't da-da-da. But I was raised to have a backbone because of my Black mothers. And so I went to him, and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. How come she got the job? You told me I couldn't have it because I didn't have a bachelor's. And then this woman ends up getting it. Oh, no, she's enrolled. She's getting her degree. Monday, she came and she started working, and I said, hey, so what school? Just curious, what school? Because I might want to enroll. I'm not going to school. No, she had no idea that they even told me that lie.
So through that, you learned the politics of
I learned the politics
world.
of corporate world, and I was paid less than a lot of the people that were even under me. So I left, went to another position, and eventually evolved from there. And then my very last corporate job, I hit $213,000 my last year. So, but at that last year, it was a tug and pull with God and my purpose. And I just felt like different people were speaking into my life. Like, this isn't where these four walls are not where God has you.
Right.
I see a bigger picture. One lady even told me, I see you in a building full of women that are waiting in line to come hear your story because you have a powerful story that's going to inspire millions. And I'm like, yeah. When people tell you yeah. May of 2014, her conversation came right back into my mind when I was asked to be a keynote speaker for our Daily Bread Ministries at the corporate headquarters. And as I'm looking out the window, watching women coming in, the lady's voice, you're going to be in a building full of women trying to come in to hear your story. And I was like, God, this is you. Like, you're making this happen, And so I just feel like every step that I take, even though I fight it sometimes, it's like God pushing me. It's my process.
It's the process regardless that every entrepreneur goes through.
Yes.
We don't understand it.
We don't understand it. We just have to be
back
open
along the way and say,
that's
this is
why
this happened.
And something else.
And we don't know in the time.
You
but
don't.
That's the thing that they
You
trust
don't know.
The process. Trust the process
And
because
exactly.
it'll lead you to exactly where
oh my gosh.
I think we're always exactly where we're supposed to be.
You definitely are.
So she spoke to you about being in the building, working with a lot of women.
Yeah.
So, hello, look at it. This is where we are at right now.
This is where we are at.
Right?
I help women pursue their dreams. I help them launch and grow their business and whatever it is, that they want to do, right? And so I also, now I'm very selective in who or what I work with. And back to your point about hey, God does this for a reason. And right last year in April, I was approached to start this contract job to oversee an entire organization helping with the training and stuff with the organization of 350 dental centers, and so everything, I was hired for it and everything, and I ended up, the hiring person knew me from my last job, and she's like, oh yeah, Laura's got this. So everything was set in stone, getting ready to start. She left. I had to re-interview with a couple more people. They loved me. They hired me. This is where it comes to breaking through the bamboo ceiling. So right before I was supposed to start, the VP calls me and say, hey, we have a call that I want you to meet our CFO. And I said, oh, great. I'd love to meet the CFO, da-da-da. I'm thinking I'm still starting. HR had my background check. I have my start date, travel, everything. Like, okay, you're going to be traveling. So I wait for the phone call. Everything's been on phone, so they don't know I'm Asian. They only see Laura Robertson.
Right.
Okay? And my voice. Like, I don't sound like I have an accent or that I'm Asian, right? And so everything's been over the phone. But this time was different. They're like, no, we don't want you on the phone. We want you to click on the laptop and turn your video on.
Okay.
So I did that. And so I'm sitting there, and this was the most awkward interview I've ever done in my entire life. This man that I met, he did not have eye contact with me. He was so shocked, in my opinion, and I'm looking through my lens, remember, just being teased and bullied and all that.
Right.
I'm looking through my lens, and I'm like, oh, this man sees that I'm Asian. He's not even eye contact the whole time. I even have it on screenshot. He looked like this while I was talking. Not giving me any eye contact. And then afterwards, he said, oh, I'm done. Like, that's all I have. Do you have anything? And then asked the VP if she had it. No, Laura, I'm going to, send your paperwork, and we're going to get you started. I'll call you Thursday or Friday. I never heard from her. I talked to my girl that referred me on Sunday, and she's like, that's weird, because she did call me. And she told me that they wanted her to pursue another girl. How could they pursue another person? I had a start date. Like, make that make sense. And it was a girl with less experience, but she wasn't Asian.
And this is why I think it is so important to create our own businesses, right?
Yeah.
Because those things that you go through.
But
right?
God pushed me into another business opportunity. So now I do marketing for my community. I do marketing for our community, our low income, our refugee, our immigrants. So now I do for a huge organization that's been around for 35 years. I'm the director for their entire department, and it's called Hanol Family Alliances. So we are launching like the mental health sector. They put me in charge of the entire marketing.
Those things
so now,
happen, right?
The more I grow their company, I'm able to impact my people. The low-income people that was once where I was on welfare and, poverty, to help them flourish. And so I'm super excited about, this. I've been working with them for about a year, because that launched me over, but only in the home care side. And just recently they're like, can you just head up the whole thing? I said, okay.
That's amazing.
That's something I love to do. So whatever partners that you have, that you can connect me with. We feed the seniors. We need volunteers in Chicago. If you know anyone in Chicago, we feed the seniors fresh meals every day, hundreds of seniors in the community, and we have volunteers come to deliver the foods to them or help in the kitchen. So there's a lot of different sectors. We help with English second language. We help with citizenship. We help with home care. We help with senior, there's so many different sectors that we are launching, and now we're launching the mental health side of things.
Okay, that's amazing. You really, 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 that's an amazing story.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? The things you've been through, the things you've been able to accomplish, and just, that thing, that perseverance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people go through things,
and they give up.
things, and they stop. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if you stop, you're never going to know what's on the other side of all that fear that you had in the beginning, right? Beautiful potential. What's the future?
Beautiful potential. Oh my goodness.
Let's talk about
So Beautiful Potential was also born out of a vision that I had a few years ago, and during one of my drives back and forth, my hour and a half commute, like this name came to me, and like I heard in my voice, and when I said it really slowly, it was be you to full potential. That's when it like light bulb click. Okay, you're supposed to help use your story and your journey to help other women who were told they're going to be nothing, who were told their future's a failure, who were told that they're stupid, who graduated with a 1.7 or whatever amount to graduate high school. Like you need to help other women build their self-confidence, and through beauty and through image, through the things that I've learned, and so when you feel beautiful, when you feel confident, you can change the world. Like you're able to, and you're able to approach those networking opportunities or the opportunities that's going to make you successful. You're able to be more open and talk, and you're happier. And so I just want to like help other women see their worth, and help them live a life of their dreams, the life that they want. Because right now, like, I can't say it enough. I wake up happy, like everything is just perfect. Like I could do whatever I want when I want, and but being able to also make an impact at the same time.
That is the most important thing.
Yeah.
That's the most gratifying thing, more than any
It's not about money. It's about who I can help.
Because that's everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially people that are maybe younger than you, or in the position that you've already been in. Mentorship is important.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Information is important. And I just want to tell you, like, you've inspired me just having this conversation with you.
Thank you.
I think you have an amazing journey. I think it should be shared.
Thank you.
And
I have two amazing stylists here. They have their own businesses, U5 Beauty and Lace by Sharonda.
Okay.
They are the best braider and the best wig maker in town. My daughter works here as well. She does everything, whatever, you name it.
How does that work? How do you like being able to work with your daughter?
I don't really see her often because I work remotely. A lot of times I'm not here, but it's pretty nice to see, the transition. Like she is a go-getter, she, has her own business. She's doing what she's passionate about, but also she's a single mom, and so like just to see your child, like being able to like juggle all that, and, it's pretty impressive, to watch her growth and, to become that woman. She's gonna be 26 this year. So it's like, wow, like, and I have I have two grandkids, but yeah.
How is that? That is
being a grandma.
Yeah.
I'm a glamour.
Yeah, I have a granddaughter also.
Do you?
Yeah, so
Awesome.
they become the love of your life, right?
Yeah, they do. My grandson, Mama. Yeah, he's 1 year old. But yeah, the future of us is just to continue to help, women, mostly women. I have a couple male clients, but most of my clients are women. But just to help them grow. And so right now we are working on our So Beautiful Potential is a branch. It's a beauty and business consulting company, beauty and branding consulting company. And so one section of our organization, continuing education hours. So now beauty professionals can get trained through us and get their hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm building, collaborating with other beauty professionals, and we're building our online school, which will launch in the beginning of the year. So people can watch and learn how to do specific skills and level up on their beauty techniques so they can make more money.
Okay.
And so beauty and also business techniques. And so I have already business courses already on my online school, but we're going to add to it with the beauty courses, haircuts, wigs, you name it, everything. So.
Yeah. Again, kudos to you. I'm really, really glad that I came to do this interview.
Yeah, and thank you for, coming and reaching out to me to come and share my story and
it's really inspiring.
hopefully be able to inspire some of your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you want to leave in closing with the audience? Any words of encouragement or something for people that were
absolutely
in position or going through things that you've been through?
Yeah, so I just want to say to everyone, just trust the process. I know that sometimes things are looking down and you don't know why you're in a position where you are. I've been there many times. But I will tell you that every single time that was a rejection, it was always a redirection. Every time that I was in my down spiral, it was just to help boost me up and jump even further up. So whatever phase in your life you're at right now, if it's a job you're unhappy with, life's too short. Try to find other things that you can do to help you be fulfilled, and reach out to me if you need a little bit of guidance. I can help you get on track with what it is that you need to do, or if you have a business plan or idea that you want to start. I offer free coaching, so you can reach out to me and schedule a free coaching.
Thank you again. This is the reason why I do this podcast. It's called Success is the Journey.
Oh, awesome.
You know what I mean? And it's all about the journey of getting to
It is.
who you are and going where you're going. And again, I want to say thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor.
I wish you a lot of blessings for the future.
Awesome. You as well.